The challenge is, from the description of what I heard, if I were a traditionalist Muslim alim, not to say a more fundamentalist one, I would consider what you have described as a subversive organization or a subversive movement designed to undermine the established concept of the Ummah. In a traditional doctrinal Islamic perspective, this is the case. And I would strongly urge you to, in a sense, examine this notion of the social, civic engagement as a social transformative force in a society by providing it with what I would call, for lack of a better term, an epistemological foundation. In what way is that notion of civic engagement, for example, consonant with, I'll give you an example, the early days of Islam in Mecca, subsequently the early days in Medina, subsequently the later days in Medina when the Muslims became the dominant force. No longer the Muslims, coming in with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahifat al-Medina, of saying, this is a sort of a federal system, federal state. We're going to have respect and recognition for the different ethnic communities or tribal communities, and the two Jewish tribes will be able to administer their affairs according to their rules and the others according to their rules. And I am only here as a sort of a federal arbiter of matters of a common interest. Think of how this changes after the military successes of the Muslims. Think of how this changes after the conquest of Mecca. Think of how this changes when the Muslim Ummah then is transformed into basically a succession of empires. What happened to the notion of the Ummah? Look at the civic engagement and civic responsibility that the Prophet asked his followers in the pre-Hijrah times of Mecca, and see how this has been transformed in the course of history. What is the Gulen movement trying to do? Is the Gulen movement trying to re-engender this early movement in pre-Hijrah in Mecca, in the early days of Medina, or is it simply a total detachment from the past and saying, well, let's look at the contemporary political reality of this era of world globalization, and that's how we are going to affect social change. But that social change is only going to gain credibility and is only going to gain support if you have a doctrinal foundation which is based on traditional concepts of the notion of the Ummah. Because that is the essential ligament that ties all Muslims together. No longer the Ummah as a state with a territory and a boundary, but the Ummah as a community of Muslims. And I think it is in that respect that the Gulen movement could, if it can establish that theological foundation and convince Muslims at large of it, become a worldwide movement for social reform and transformation of Muslim society.